Hello everyone, welcome back. How are you? I'm Skyline, and today we have to guys. It's the mandatory video talking about the newest thing, the Nintendo Switch. Oh wait, I don't have a Nintendo Switch because they're all sold out, all worldwide. Well, okay, then I guess we'll have to talk about the second newest thing, Orisa in Overwatch. As usual, when a new hero comes out, all 2 times this happened, I'll do a little self-VOD review, why not? Now, I shot a shield up there, and the reason I did that is because, see, bam, it's gonna come down now, and this is right when I actually needed the shield, but because, if we look at the cooldown real quick, when I shoot it up, it immediately goes on cooldown, so the seconds start ticking back, and now I have an additional 4 or 5 seconds of lower cooldown on this shield than I would have had before. So you see it just recently came out of cooldown. It's not going to be relevant in this particular case, but if they had killed the shield earlier, I could have put it up earlier than I normally could have by just shooting it at the ground. Now the cooldown is 12 seconds, the shield lasts 20 seconds, so this isn't really necessary most of the time, but when you can, it's just a little bonus, why not? A little bonus out of the gate. So we're chilling out here. Bastion's gonna try to do some stuff, but poor Bastion. He's, I think that he would have died even with a 35% reduction, but especially with a 20% reduction, that is not going to happen. Now, of course, with Orisa, a big part of it is putting a shield in the proper place. If you're a little bit selfish with the shields, I found that you can be that way with Orisa. If you're a little bit selfish with the shields, you're not going to help your team. Like this shield, for example, doesn't actually help anyone, and now for 12 seconds, I'm kind of a useless hero because without it, she has no direct way of actually helping her team out. She is mostly a supportive hero. Her gun is very good, don't get me wrong, especially, it's also a very skill-based gun, by the way. This gun right here does so much damage, ridiculous amounts of damage, around 150 DPS if you hit every shot, but it's also a bit luck-based because of the spread. The projectile part of the weapon, though, the fact that you have to lead your shots makes it a very skillful weapon. Now, an issue there, I feel like there's 2 types of players at the moment. When I see people play Orisa, they're either the people who forget to use their shift or the people who forget to use their right click. And I am certainly the former. Rewinding a bit, you can see, first of all, I shouldn't have been out here at all. Orisa can't secure solo kills ever unless they really screw up. But I should have shifted way earlier once I knew I was in trouble. You see, I only shifted when I was about at 100 health. The higher HP you are, the better your shift is. And I'll get into that in just a second, but you see, I just missed my hook on the Genji. I tried to hook him back out of dash range, but I didn't quite get the distance right. And you can see the gun's okay. The gun's okay. It's really hard to aim though, especially when someone's jumping around all like this. The Genji, I think here should have killed me. He didn't wait for his cooldowns to come up. Now, your fortify is what it's called. Your shift ability when you're on PC is better at higher hit points because it's 50% damage reduction. If you're at 400 health, it's going to give you an additional 400 health on top of that in essential HP. If you're at 200 health, it's going to give you 200 health on top of that. And so the amount of actual benefit you get from Fortify depends on how much health you have. You want to use it as early as possible. So really for me, Orisa is kind of a tricky character because her gun, I'm interested to see how far people can take this gun, how far I specifically, I guess, playing this hero, can take this gun with practice. Is it going to get to the point where really it's just kind of luck-based because of the projectiles? You know, how far can you bring it? How high is the skill cap on the gun before it just gets to the point where, oh, it's a projectile, so it just kind of comes down to luck. Plus, because the spread is pretty large, it's kind of a luck-based gun to begin with, because that's really what's going to make or break her. Depending on how good her gun is, if her gun isn't good enough, then she's just going to be kind of a mediocre Reinhardt mixed with a mediocre Roadhog. Actually, rather just a bad Reinhardt plus a bad Roadhog. So obviously, my ability to aim the gun, I'd say is not bad. It's pretty fair, but it's certainly not as good as it could be with 50 hours on the hero. Let's talk about her ability Halt, though. That's her Graviton Surge-esque thing. By the way, poor Bastion, rip in peace. So it's really good at getting pickoffs, and it's really good against flankers and all that sort of stuff. Plus, it goes through barriers. However, it's kind of pointless to throw it through a barrier because you can't actually hit anyone through the barrier regardless. It does stun people. It is a mini stun. So if you shoot it at a Reinhardt, for example, by the way, that's an example of picking someone out with the orb. The slow is pretty severe at the beginning, although it tapers off quite fast. So it will put a Reinhardt shield down for just half a second or so. And it will also knock people out of channeled ultimates. Another, by the way, oh no. Our team's over here. I'm over here. This is not going to work out very well. I can see it right now. Oh dear. The ultimate, Orisa's ultimate, is we're going to see it a little bit. We just saw it there, how put it down, melted through our team. 50% damage boost to the entire team is absolutely insane. So I think that if Orisa's gun turns out to be maybe not necessarily something you can rely on, she's just going to be an ult bot. Basically, sit there on attack, especially with the damage boost. It's almost impossible to stop a damage boosted Orisa push. 50% damage boost. The entire team is just too insane. This game, I haven't had many, but I'll probably show a clip a little bit later. Most of the time, whenever I drop Orisa ultimate, my team just goes and wipes the other team, just rolls them over. There's been a couple times when I use my ultimate, die almost immediately, and then just get like, you know, the little beep when you get a defensive assist or an offensive assist. I just get 6 of those immediately. The team just goes and rolls everyone. Now here, it'd be pretty nice if our Roadhog would hook the Bastion or something like that, but it's okay. And here's also the weakness of Orisa. No shield means I have to hide, because she's really, really easy to kill, guys. Only 400 health. No, she's not like Zarya, where she has a small hitbox. Oh, by the way, here's an example of the ultimate just melting everything instantly. 50% damage boost, so much. Running into dragons, not quite as good. Definitely with Orisa. So you can see she's pretty weak. I'm having a difficult time just sitting here actually interacting with people, because once my barrier goes down, I mean, they just melt through my health. Only 400. Remember, Reinhardt has 500. Roadhog has 600. Zarya is a little bit more comparable, but she's much, much smaller. And she has an 8-second cooldown on her bubble, as opposed to a 10-second cooldown on Fortify, which doesn't even block damage, it just mitigates damage, and a 12-second cooldown on Protective Barrier, which of course is a stationary thing. So in these games, I haven't been talking about them too much, but I'll get there probably, maybe, don't worry. In these games, I was finding it was very, very difficult for me to actually just stay around and have an impact, because people were thinking that I was a tank, and I was thinking that I was a tank too, right? I was playing as if I was a tank most of the time, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't tank. I wasn't even like a Zarya. I didn't have the staying power of even a Zarya. Once they take down your shield, once they push you, you're just dead. You can't hide. You're so big. Orisa feels like a hero I would almost want to fill in a support role, as opposed to a more traditional tank role. Kind of like how Roadhog, to a lot of people, feels more of a DPS role than a tank role as well. Comparing her to Reinhardt, she's very susceptible to dives, because remember, Reinhardt has that kind of like that melee range kill zone around him, where anyone who comes near him takes just massive undodgeable damage pretty much. Orisa doesn't have that. Plus at long range, she has a pretty big spread, so she can't damage anything that's not like a Bastion or a Reinhardt shield. So she can't really have too much of an impact there. In mid-range, her gun is okay, but it's not even anywhere near Zarya or Roadhog. So while Roadhog is the tank hybrid sort of hero, I would call Orisa the tank support sort of hero. So when you run Orisa, you need to make sure that you have good damage. That's why I think she's going to be strong in higher damage compositions, either triple DPS or compositions that are running an Ana and a Zenyatta, so high DPS supports. Really, if I'm being honest, I would almost replace a support with Orisa, because you can imagine a composition where you're running maybe one healer, like an Ana or a Mercy, Orisa, and then probably one more tank and 2 more DPS, or just 3 more DPS. And who needs healing when you can just farm up your ultimate and give everyone a 50% boost and just go in and kill them real fast, and just rely on that sort of thing, because you do build your ultimate quite quickly with Orisa by just spamming out LMB. Regardless, though, to answer the question, she can't replace a Reinhardt, and that's just about it. But let's just talk about the rest of this match. We're gonna use the right click, pull in the Zarya, take her out pretty easily. You can see that against targets that are in mid-range, who have decent hitboxes, I actually do a ton of damage. Orisa does a good amount of damage, as long as you have decent aim. So let's look at this last fight, or the last fight in the video at least, and we will call it a day. So our Pharah goes down pretty early. That's quite sad for us, unfortunately, but she'll be back, I'm sure of it. Back up a little bit. Remember, the barrier cooldown is everything. Without the barrier cooldown, you just can't move up. That's literally it. So right click and grab a bunch. Unfortunately, no real follow-up because there was a barrier there. And that is the issue with pulling people in when they're all the way back there. They do have barriers. I'm going to drop my ultimate, and you will see now what the ultimate can do. So I stand up there. I die pretty early on. Managed to use my shift, which tanks a bit. but look at that. Team just goes and wipes them. And that's usually what happens when I drop my ultimate. Usually it doesn't matter what I do. At that point, I just drop the ult, 50% damage boost, everyone on the other team dies. So yeah, that's the discussion. But I would really like to see how you play Orisa. In the comments is pretty good. That's one thing you can do. But better yet, send me an email, send me a recording of your gameplay, send me a VOD, skylinow@gmail.com, and I promise to do 2 of them. 2 Orisa VOD reviews this next coming week, because I really want to see how other people play here. And I think that she's a hero that's so unique right now, unlike Sombra and Ana, who I think were pretty easy to figure out, oh, this is kind of how you play her, right? With Orisa, I really want people to see different playstyles. So send me that, and we will get right on it. I think that she's a hybrid tank support who does best when she's around better tanks and people who she can support directly and not have to go up in the front line. But tell me what you think, like I said, in the comments, or send me your own gameplay. Never forget to stay positive and have a great day. Peace out, guys.